It's a great joy to have this opportunity to be with you here on this Monday. I trust the Lord gave you a wonderful weekend. I tell you, no matter how good all the days are, there's nothing like the Lord's Day. And I trust that's always an encouragement to you. I'd like to look at Acts chapter 9. You know, we see people in power. We see people especially that are bent on trying to push back biblical values, even are beginning to try to persecute Christians who have any kind of a testimony. And we see that, and it's hard for us, especially being used to the freedoms that we've had and the respect for biblical values. It's hard to see all of this happening. And we see especially leaders that are just so strong in their anti-God leadership and in their rhetoric and everything that they say. And sometimes we just feel hopeless, and we can allow that to be discouraging to us. Well, the story of Saul, who became the Apostle Paul, is one that ought to encourage us. He was the one that caused the people in Jerusalem to have to scatter. He was bringing on fierce persecution as he was rising in the ranks there of the Sanhedrin, and was an extremely zealous Jew, very strong in his leadership. And the people there feared him greatly. But that's no problem to the Lord. You know the story of how he went to Damascus to persecute the believers there. And on the road to Damascus, we read in verse 3 of chapter 9 of the book of Acts, and as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Here we see God directly intervening with light from heaven, and Saul immediately was confronted with the wrong perspective of his life. And he answers, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And he trembled and turned his heart to the Lord right at that time. And you know, if we will pray for those in leadership, the Bible says that in 1 Timothy chapter 2, God can bring light. He won't necessarily do it this way, but he will bring light to their soul. God has promised to convince the world of sin, righteousness, and judgment. And he can bring great fear into the hearts of people if we will pray. I think Christians today pray just sort of hoping something will happen. I want to encourage us to pray believing that God will do something, and God can turn things around. The main thing we need to be burdened about is the souls of those that are in leadership, because if they don't turn from their wicked ways and they don't turn to Jesus, they will spend eternity in hell. So I just want to encourage you that in a moment, God can change things. And if God's people will trust him, think of all the people praying there in Jerusalem. Look what God did. God can turn the situation on a dime. And so let's keep our faith in the Lord. Whatever he allows, we certainly accept that. But we need to pray for him to intervene and do great things. And so may God cause us to be encouraged in the power of prayer.